Hey there. I read the six books shortlisted for the 2025 International Booker Prize, and I thought I would share my reading experience with you. Uh, I have this habit of reading books that are shortlisted or longlisted for Booker Prize, especially the International Booker Prize, because this is one way I keep myself updated on what is happening around world literatures. And this is International Booker Prize. You see books in translation, so this could also give you exposure to different languages, which would otherwise be impossible to read because you don't know that language. For example, in the current list, we have books from French. None of these languages are familiar to me, but I could read them in English. These are new books. This is one thing that you can do if you want to get hold of what is happening around world literatures. Anyway, so six books are shortlisted for the 2025 International Booker Prize, and the praise would be announced in, let's say, I think two weeks. Anyway, so I would be giving you a short review of my or telling you my reading experience of reading these books. First, I'll start with the French book, Small Boats by Vincent Delacroix. I apologize if the way I'm pronouncing the name is wrong, but anyway, Small Boats by Vincent Delacroix, which is translated from French by Helen Stevenson. This is a very powerful political novel. It's a very small book, under 200 pages, maybe 150 pages. It's very short. You can read maybe in one sitting. This is about people, uh, the refugees migrating from France to England through that small English channel. Migrants crossing from France to England. So this novel is based on many true incidents that actually happened of this sort. So, see, something that you have to understand is that the narrowest point between France and England, in English Channel, is just 20 miles. And this extends between Calais and Dover. And while reading this book, Matthew Arnold's Dover Beach kept on ringing behind my head. So the real event on which the author has based this story happened back in 2021 when 33 migrants from France decided to migrate to England through this English Channel, and they got stuck midway. Uh, the engine of the boat, the small boat refers, the titular small boat refers to that boat in which these people usually cross the channel. And on that day, their boat, the engine failed, and they called for help, but none arrived. And finally, when the help arrived, uh, most of them were unfortunately dead. So, this novel is based on this event, and this is the novel is divided into three chapters, two of which are narrated by that officer who was supposed to help out these migrants. These migrants stuck midway, extremely cold, and they call this lady for help, which she refuses. She gives reasons like, maybe you are at the other end, you are in English waters, and maybe the English officers can help you, is not us. And finally, what happens is, just only two of them would survive. And this novel is about the questioning, the interrogation of this particular officer who was supposed to help these people. And at the center of this novel is the idea of ethics. Who is actually responsible for the death of these people, of the refugees, of these people who were trying to migrate from France to England? Who is actually responsible? Is it the lady? Yes, she is. But how much of the responsibility is on her shoulders? Why did they migrate in the first place? Why did they choose migration? Why did they choose a small boat? Why did they want to illegally within quotes, cross the English Channel? What kind of system made this situation happen? And this novel, even the lady is trying to turn the narrative against these so many causes that are also responsible for this event that has unfortunately happened. Uh, she's held responsible, but is she the only one who should be responsible? That's a different question. So this is my favorite novel among the six, and I hope that this novel would win the International Booker Prize. But surprise as always. The second book is Perfection. It's originally written in Italian by Vincenzo Latronico. Again, I apologize if I'm reading this wrong, and it's translated by Sophie Hughes. This was one of the most relatable novel among the six, and uh, this is about contemporary existence. You living in the almost the first quarter of the 21st century is over. Towards the end of the first quarter of the 21st century, you are living a life that nobody has lived before in previous generations. Uh, this is about the emptiness of living, or so-called living well. It's about two millennial couples, Anna and Tom, who migrates from US to Berlin, and they take an apartment which is bright, and it's well planned, and it's visibly absolutely beautiful. Everything that someone would dream of. It's very Instagrammable, and that is a word. Their life is very, very Instagrammable. They are um, they are graphic designers. They create content for people. They have clients. They are paid well. Everything is, and so they think they're so happy. um, I mean, they discuss about slow cooking, Danish furnitures, different sexual experiments that they do, all of these things, and you feel like, "Oh, this is a world that I actually want to live in." And towards a mid portion of the novel, you find that something is not correct. Things are actually falling apart. There is a deep, seated, situated emptiness within all of these. And Anna and Tom finally, realizes that there is something wrong with what is happening. So this novel was rather philosophical for me in one sense. Again, this was a very short novel which you can read in maybe one or two sittings. So in that sense, I particularly love novels that are under 200 pages. No offense, but I absolutely adore novels that are under 200 pages, and this is somewhere under 200 pages. And I absolutely loved the experience that I had reading this book. That takes me to the third novel that is a matter of pride, because this is from India. It's written by Bhanu Mushtaq, originally in Kannada, and it's translated by Deepa Bashti. And the title of the novel is Heartlands. I have the copy of the physical copy of the book with me. Heartlands by Bhanu Mushtaq, translated uh, from Kannada to English by Deepa Bashti. Uh, this is written by Banu Mushtaq, who is a lawyer, who's an activist, who's also a writer. So these are this is a collection of short stories written between 1990 and 2023, originally in Kannada. Um and she captures the everyday lives of women and girls in Muslim communities in south of India, Karnataka. These are different issues happening within the community that the women and the girls face every day in their life. And this is, one sense, this is humorous. There is this humor situated some at different portions of this book, but fundamentally this is about this is also, it's a mode of activism that Banu Mushtaq, who was originally an activist, she does the same in her stories as well. Something that I see, I'm always curious about the idea of translation. Translation is an incredibly difficult job, and to translate something from one language to other it's just not a linguistic transformation, but it's also a uh, cultural translation that you're doing. You are essentially taking one culture and placing it in a different language, which is an extremely difficult thing to do. Interestingly, I have to read something from the translator's note. In Bhanu's stories, this code switching between 3-4 languages we engage with daily results in a delightful mix of Kannada, Urdu, Arabic, Dakini, and a Kannada spoken by specific communities in specific localities of the Hassan region. I've been to Hassan region a while back. Many different slangs, different languages, all of them coming together in her short story. How would you translate these stories to one language, English? All these 4 to 5 languages, all of them translated together to English. Extremely difficult task. And I think, I mean, I don't know Kannada to judge this, but I think Diva Bharti has done an amazing work. But yet, uh, again, I mean, I wish there's some technique that can help the readers understand there is actually a distinction uh, of languages within the work. Anyway, that's difficult. So I liked these stories. I don't know if this book would go on to win the Booker Prize, but if it does, I am so happy because this is just a few kilometers away from my state. Anyway, taking that takes us to the fourth book, A Leopard Skinhead, the first book that I read from the list. It's written by Annie Serre. Again, I'm not sure this is how I should pronounce this. It's originally written in French, translated to English by Mark Hutchinson. This is again a psychological study, and one thing that I loved about this book is how it breaks the structure of the novel itself. This is about a woman who is battling different mental issues, and she is accompanied throughout her journeys by someone called the narrator. This is how the author plays with the idea of a narrator. Usually, a narrator in a novel is I mean, as in the writer would, the novelist would write an I, and that is a narrator. I did this, I did that. But here in this novel, there is no I. There is an I, which is a different person. But the narrator of the novel is called narrator. It is written there. The narrator did this, the narrator did that. So this technique is completely new to me, and I got exposed to one new technique, which is the takeaway of reading this novel. This is about the narrator's love and anguish. I mean, the kind of anguish attachment to the women we spoke about. And this is this novel is written after the death of the author's sister. So in that sense, if you read the novel, you would notice that maybe this even would have worked in writing this novel. The fifth novel that I want to discuss is On the Calculation of Volume 1, Part 1. This is Part 1 because this is a part of a septology. Seven novels. I think five are already published. It's originally written in Danish by Solveig Belle. Again, I'm not sure if this is how I should pronounce this. Translated to English by Barbara Havland. I think five books are already out there in Danish, and I think this is the first book is translated to English. I think the second one would be coming out sometime this year. Anyway, I mean, did I like this book? I am not sure, but I kind of enjoy reading this book. But this was not new to me. The story, I was very familiar with the story. I'll tell you why. In the first part of the septology, the author tells the story of Sarah Selter, who has slipped out of time, and every morning she wakes up to the 18th of November. I've just written down the dates on the laptop, so forgive me if I'm not maintaining eye contact. Anyway, so she no longer expects herself to wake on the 19th of November because every day she wakes up, she's on a time loop. Can you call it a time loop? I think so. She always every day wakes up on the same date, 18th November, and she doesn't expect to wake up on 19th. Oh, can't she cannot even remember what happened on 17th because every day it's 18th and she can't remember what happened on 17th. Um, so whenever I see, this is very similar to the movie Groundhog's Day, and every time I read books where people are trapped in time, I think about Myth of Sisyphus, where Sisyphus rolls the stone up the mountain every day to only to push it down by the end of the day, and this happens. He goes on to do it every day. It gets repeated every day. So this everydayness, the mundanity of every day, the usual, the something that you can't get rid of, habits, your work. I always get reminded of 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5 whenever I read such stories. Anyway, but on the 365th day, again another 18th of November, she feels that she can't shake off the idea of getting out of this time loops. Underneath this time lock, there is a way to escape, and the novel goes on like that. And maybe I don't know what to expect in the next novel. I don't know if I'll be reading the next novel, but anyway, uh, the last novel is a Japanese novel written by Hiromi Kawakami. It's translated from Japanese to English by Asa Yoneda, and it's titled Under the Eye of the Big Bird. This is uh, I mean, see, I personally believe that again, IMO. There were other novels in the long list that I personally would have loved seeing on the short list. This is so. I mean, when I read this book, I felt that another book should have been here. Again, these are all personal opinions. This is about a dystopian world. It's set in a distant future where humans are on the verge of extinction, and different small tribes have settled in different parts of the world. They are under the observation and care of uh, the mothers. These are a collection of short stories, and most of them are connected. All of them are set in the same world, very dystopian. Um, some babies, human babies, are made from extractions from dolphins, from rabbits, from other creatures, and they feed themselves from light and other sources like plants. So all of this are very dystopic for me. I mean, I don't know if I actually loved reading this book, but and it kept on reminding me of some other Japanese novel that I've read recently, Memory Police. um hey uh these are the six books that I've read, and I am disappointed that uh two books long listed are not there in the shortlist. One is the Book of Disappearance, and the second one is um Reservoir Bitches. These two books were absolutely terrific. If you're not planning to read any of these six books, it's absolutely fine, but these two books you should definitely read: the Book of Disappearance and Reservoir Bitches. So these are the six books shortlisted for the 2025 International Booker Prize, and I would be super happy if Small Boat wins the prize, or I would be happy even if Perfection wins the prize. Thank you for watching. See you in another video. Bye bye.